Hi everyone, it's Victoria Kennedy, medium clairvoyant from Los Angeles, California. And on tonight's episode of VK's Rant and Rave, I want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein. So let's get into this. We all know about Jeffrey Epstein, and I'm not really going to get into too many details regarding what he did, how he got started. And if you really don't know the foundation of who Jeffrey Epstein is, I would suggest that you Google him. I'm pretty sure you're aware of what he's done. He's all over social media, especially on TikTok. And because recently it's been a major conversation about these so called Epstein files, do they exist? Do they not? I mean, it's just all over the media, all over social media as well. We have influencers who are talking about this, and why wouldn't they? I don't know about you, but I want to know. Do those files exist? Was he killed? Did he kill himself? So when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein, this was somebody who had a lot of money. He even had like this his own compound on some island, right? I mean, this was a guy who was a billionaire. I think he has more or had more money than President Musk. But they talk about his partner, oh my god, I can't even remember her name, the Maxwell. I'm not even going to try to pronounce her first name because that's just way too far out there for me, and trust me, I cannot pronounce her name to save the life of me. So this is somebody who would go and recruit young girls for Epstein. Trick them, take them to his hidden hideaway of island where there's nobody who can hear any type of screams or ruckuses or anything that's going on. So Jeffrey Epstein, he would take these girls, and these were underage girls. He would take them to his private island, and they would say, can you give me a massage? And the massage would go from a massage to massaging something else. I'm not going to go into details with that. And some of these girls were girls who didn't really come from a lot. They lived in poverty, and to them, a couple $100 was a good deal for them. Well, why not go and give him a happy ending? But it's not the fact that they agreed to give him a happy ending. It was more as if he was going to get that happy ending, regardless if they consented or if they did not consent. And these girls, they were raped. They were underage girls. They were raped. They were drugged. So not only did he rape these girls, these underage girls, but they were trafficked. I mean, because she would go scope them out, search them out, bring them to his island, and whatever he wanted, he would get. So if he had a girl there and she's like, I'm not into this, I don't want to do this, well, tough luck, because you pretty much already agreed to go and do whatever he wanted you to do. And even if you were last minute, gonna just say, no, I'm not down with it, you had no other choice. You either were going to consent, and if you chose not to consent, he was still going to do whatever he wanted to do with you. So not only do we have him for trafficking, but we have him for sexual assault, for raping, and they're all minors. But in regard to that, he also has pretty high public figures that are also on this so-called Epstein list. On previous episodes of VK's Rant and Rave, I talk about the orange man, the little short orange man, who he's probably going to be dead by the end of this year, to be honest with you. We have this little short orange man who photographs of him with Epstein have emerged. There's videos of him with Epstein, and you cannot tell me that he had no idea what Epstein was doing. Of course he did. Think about it. If you have a friend for such a long time, and you are so close where you go to the little orange man's wedding, and chances are you may have been to other family functions, but you're going to know something's off. You're going to know just by their behavior. And because of that close-knit connection you supposedly have, you're going to say, hey, do you want in? Do you want in? Do you want to do this? So you cannot tell me, first of all, that short little orange man did not know what was going on and never had any involvement in that. So when it comes to these Epstein files, I truly believe and I feel that the files are not going to be released because the little orange man is in those files. And he's calling it a conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's going to be facts. First they say the files exist. Now they're saying, oh, they don't exist. It's like far-fetched. It's a conspiracy theory. Reporters end up asking Trump, oh, I'm sorry, I actually should call him the little orange man, about these files. And apparently now he gets all upset. He starts rolling his eyes. So to try to cover up and try to say, hey, let's kind of do something else so that way, the media can stop talking about these Epstein files, he goes and releases the MLK files. He releases the MLK files so that way he can divert attention. Oh, the MLK files are out. I'm going to go and I'm going to start reading about this. But the fact of the matter is that the little orange man, he has to come up with some type of an answer for these Epstein files. And then now, we have it where allegedly Epstein killed himself. Now, do I feel that he killed himself? I absolutely do not. A man like him, with such a big ego, knowing that he has more money in this whole entire world that he has no idea what to do with, it's not going to be able to be one of those, oh, I'm just going to off myself. And if he would have offed himself, then he would have did it sooner. He would have did it before he even went to jail. So when it comes to Epstein being killed in jail, was this an inside job? It was a political inside job. That's what it was. Everything with Epstein is going to be politically motivated. Every single thing. You have cameras. So who went into his cell? Who went and ended up, hanging him? So this is what I feel would happen. I feel that there was some type of an altercation, kind of like a one-person altercation. So, Jeffrey Epstein, this is a guy, like I said, he's a financial individual. This isn't going to be like your everyday street guy who's going to go and try to defend himself if he's, in the street and somebody comes up to him. He's not going to know what to do. He's gonna try to diffuse that situation. And think about it. Pedophiles, because that's what he was, they're cowards. They only go and pick on the vulnerable. They only go and pick on little kids, meaning minors, right? So there's no way that he was going to go and totally stand up to whomever this person was. And you know what? As far as we know, this could have been a federal marshal who went in there and ended up, doing whatever to Epstein, got a sheet, wrapped it around, and hung him. But there was some type of altercation in there. And I'm kind of feeling that it was maybe a federal marshal who went in there and did this. But again, this is all politically, motivated. That's what it is. Now we have his brother who is now coming forward saying he did not commit suicide. He was killed. Now, do I believe his brother? Absolutely, I do. And then now we have all the talk about the Epstein files, who the short little orange man says that it's completely false. There's no evidence, or they just don't exist. And then now suddenly he wants to, I believe, partially pardon Maxwell, who was the girl who would actually go and find these individuals and take to Epstein. why are you partially going to pardon her? Why don't you just pardon her just all together? Meaning there's nothing left of this case. And why is it all the criminals are being pardoned? Again, it is politically motivated. Everything is. So, it kind of makes you think, okay, well, I wonder if these files do exist. Why is she only being partially pardoned? Like, what's with that? Well, I can guarantee you that she probably said, hey, I want to get out, and if you give me some freedom, then I won't say ABC, right? But don't be surprised if she ends up going missing or if she's end up killed, because again, this is all politically motivated. And chances are it will happen rather sooner than later. Sometimes there's some truth to all these so-called conspiracy theories, but this is not a conspiracy theory. And I'm pretty sure that the little orange man is pretty much shitting in his pants right now. I mean, think about it. You have your so-called buddy Epstein who rapes young girls, who's a pedophile, and you are associated with him. The apple never falls far from the tree. That's what they say, right? And they also say you are who you hang out with. So, if I am hanging out with somebody who's a pedophile, what's that say about me? If I am hanging out with somebody who's a murderer, what does that say about me? If I hang out with somebody who is a thief, what does that say about me? It says that I am exactly like that person and I am condoning their behavior. So think about it. I mean, we are the laughing stock. Literally, we are, because of this little orange man. And, this little orange man, he made so many false promises. He really has. And ultimately, he's made our entire state literally just a big shit show. That's basically what he has done. And he's going to try to get out of this. Why? Because he's a criminal. Epstein, he was a criminal. Now he's a dead criminal. And what happened to all of Epstein's money? That's what I always want to know. And this was not a dumb man whatsoever. You cannot tell me that he does not have any type of offshore banking accounts in other parts of the world. So who has access to that? Is it Maxine or Maxwell, whatever her last name is? Does he have kids out there who are, when they reach a certain age, they're going to inherit this money? I mean, that's what I want to know. Where is all this money at? Or does the orange little man know about it? Like I said, Epstein was not dumb. Not dumb whatsoever. Who's dumb is the orange little man, who I wish I could just step on and kind of squish him like a cockroach. But again, you are who you hang out with. Energy attracts energy. If you hang out with a pedophile, if you hang out with somebody who rapes minors, sexually assaults minors, then guess what? Orange little man, you're the same person as Epstein. So I want to know your thought and theory. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if you think that these Epstein files, if they exist or if they don't. I'm curious to know. I wish I could be a fly on the wall on all of the little orange man's conversations. No, I have to admit, I am not a fan of President Musk. I'm really not. But he has actually made some valid points. And he's called out the orange man on his BS. And you need to ask, well, at first they were buddy-buddy, and now they're not. I knew eventually, sooner or later, that they were going to have like a lover's quarrel, and they were going to end up just ending their relationship. So now Even President Musk says, hey, you don't release the Epstein files because you're in the Epstein files. So, unfortunately, when it comes to anything political and people who want to speak out or begin to tell the truth, sometimes they go missing too. They say it's a conspiracy. They say, oh, they got heavily into drugs or they started drinking a lot and they just lost their marbles. That's not true. That is not true whatsoever. This is how people want you to think that these people have gone out. Pretty much how they left this earth. They just pretty much lost their shit. They ended up on drugs and alcohol. They OD'd. Did they OD? Absolutely. But it was because of the other people who killed them. That was why they overdosed. And again, with Epstein, he's dead. Not because he killed himself. It's because other people killed him. And again, this is all politically motivated. Every single one of these. So again, let me know your thoughts, your theories on these files, and who else do you think are going to be in these files? We have a lot of creepy people in Hollywood, and I want to know these names. Aside from the little orange man, and how much is he being paid to keep those files under wrap? Not only because of him, but also because of everyone else who's in these files. Do we have A-list celebrities and athletes? Singers, like producers. Hollywood is one of the most dangerous, areas to be in when it comes to the movie industry. When my son was doing some commercials, I did not leave him out of my sight. I knew where he was at all times because I know how dirty this industry is. We see all the child actors and actresses, and they now come forward. So again, let me know your thoughts, your theories on the Epstein files. Let me know who you feel might be on these files, because there's going to be more creepy people. All right. Until next time, stay well and stay blessed.